DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. The Cowboys are 7-point favorites against the Packers this weekend, and I'm excited to see how they manage to mess it up.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Jenkins. The crown is yours. Welcome to Jenkins and Jonez on the Volume Podcast Network. It is Thursday, January 25th, and we have got a lot of basketball news to talk about. For everyone who's sick of us talking about football, we got a lot of basketball news today. As always, Jenkins and Jonez, hosted by Dragonfly Jones, a.k.a. Tyler.
Hey, everybody, have a good.
LeJethro and Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's that, Bubba's?
I'm Gardy B, a.k.a. Mike. I got the burps today, y'all. I'm sorry.
Motherfucking Mike coming to you live with the burps.
I feel like you have the burps, though. Like, the burps are a thing you
what?
have, though, right? The burps are a thing you have, right?
What does that mean?
I know. I just see you doing this.
Calling me a bourbon ass?
Like I'm a clogged up, allergic to everything ass nigga. And you a bourbon nigga. We all got a little thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I hadn't previously thought of myself as a.
I didn't either until you brought it up. I'm like, maybe that's his thing. But anyway,
produced as always by the lovely and talented Jackson Saffon.
What's up?
What's Tyler's thing?
Hats, nigga.
I'm the hat guy. I be coughing like a motherfucker, but I mute my shit if y'all don't ever repeat. I'm an allergy boy, man. My throat be tickling, my eyes be itching, bro.
It's my ears. I'm always cleaning my ears. Y'all peep it. I don't know if you ever noticed it, but I'll do that to like pop my ears.
I know we talked about it on this show, but isn't it a trip that the reason your allergies are triggered is because of how much tree cum is like floating around in the air? Like it's just an intolerable amount of tree cum.
It's unbearable, bro. Plants out here busting nuts everywhere, and we got to deal with it.
For me, it's just weird that my body is overreacting to something like tree cum. But like my body's response is too much and it needs to calm its ass down. You know what I mean? Like that's weird to me.
I've never experienced allergies and it drives Shar crazy. Because
you are the luckiest human on the planet.
But I didn't get allergies until I was like 25. I have no fucking idea how that happened, dude.
It just came on?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I should shut my fucking mouth then.
Yeah, it's never too late. I'll tell you that. It's a late.
My allergies are so bad. I had to go. I went. This is kind of embarrassing, honestly. But my allergies are so bad that I went to an allergist recently to try to get some assistance, some medical help.
At 23?
At 27.
23.
And they do this like scratch test on your back, right, to test what you're allergic for, how allergic you are.
I did that in high school.
Yeah. A lot of people have done it, but I swear to God. Like they do the scratch test and like wait 5 minutes, right? So that your body can react, and then they come back in and check you.
You just swole up like a fucking.
I was like, damn, my shit is hella itchy. But they're like, don't touch it, right? The doctor comes back in, I swear to God, and goes, oh my. He goes, you are the most allergic person in this building right now.
God damn.
And I was like, oh,
this nigga
shit.
said you allergic to everything, dog.
It's really mostly grass and tree. Like it's like pretty normal shit.
Oh, it's just like, grass and trees?
It's right. It's just all outdoor stuff.
It's just the planet.
And like to the extreme level. So that was a pretty rough moment for me.
Are you a neti pot nigga?
I was when I was younger. But not as much.
Oh wow.
Jackson's Asian. He had no choice but to be a neti pot.
Okay, so that's cultural. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was
Shar tried to get me to use a neti pot one time, and I waterboarded myself and was like, "This is just for y'all." Like,
what the hell is a neti pot?
I didn't know this was such a cultural thing.
It's a special. Oh, it's such an Asian thing. It's like a special little teapot, and you can like warm the water up a little, put some salt in it or whatever, and then if you put your head at a specific angle that only Asian people know what the angle is, you can pour the water in one nostril. It will go through your sinus system and out the other nostril. Wow. And according
Pushing
to Shar,
all the bullshit out of your
it feels
nose, bro.
great. According to Shar, I mean, it feels great. The one time I tried to do it, like I said, Tyler, I was just torturing myself.
I don't think it feels. I don't think it's comfortable for me, but it definitely helps if you have some sinus issues.
Congested.
Bro, do y'all know we only breathe in and out of one nostril, like at a time, and that shit alternates? Like, put your finger under your nose right now and watch how the breath that you breathe out your nose only comes out one nostril.
I don't know, man.
Oh, we're all doing the.
No, it came out. I don't know, brother.
Well, you're saying breathing in or breathing out, Tyler?
The left one felt more breathing in, but I did feel air from the right one though.
But it's it's always heavier on one, bro, and it alternates.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If you do it another day, it'll probably be a different nostril, bro.
I'm a little plugged.
So they
up
taking
on
a
my
rest.
butt,
They taking what is it?
Hey.
I didn't tell you could have a day off.
This is gonna be
you feel me,
ASMR
nigga?
content like crazy for the podcast. There's nostril sniffing right up next to the microphone.
Yeah. I don't know. I famously one time to Shar suggested that allergies, might not be the realest thing in the world, like as a joke.
Oh my
when we were like 19 years old, and she has never and will never.
Did she stick
forget
you?
it.
As a person with allergies, for somebody to not have allergies to the point where they think it could be fake.
Yeah.
Like as somebody like I think it was actually middle school. I did a little test that the 23-year-old did.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like I've had allergies my entire life. I was taking steroids, like getting steroid shots in my shoulders
I'm allergic
every
to
Saturday.
penicillin. I'll die if you know what I mean? Like, so it's not that
wow,
I don't
that's a
believe
big
allergic
allergy,
reactions
though.
exist.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I may have had the belief that may have been passed down to me from an older generation that some of the season allergy stuff was like a big pharma thing. You know what I mean? And I think it may just be because my parents also never had allergies.
Jesus. I've had allergies my entire life. You know what I mean? And you just.
Well,
to the point
one
that
thing
you
that
think
Joel
it's
Embiid
crazy.
is allergic to is not scoring 70 points this week. And that is what we're here to talk about on this podcast. 70 ball from Embiid stamps his name in the history books. Fellas, where were you on the day that Joel Embiid scored 70?
In 36 minutes at that, bro. Embiid has just been on a tear. The homie Tommy Beer on Twitter put together some stats over the last 16 games. Joel Embiid is averaging 40.3 points, 11.9 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.9 blocks, 1.3 made three-pointers while shooting 57%, 57.4% from the floor, 41.7% from downtown, and 89.7% from the free throw line. So doing all that while being a 57, 42, 90 guy, right? Just an incredible fucking tear that he's been on. And bro, like that MVP is his for the taking. Back to back.
And the fact that it happened against Wemby, you know what I mean? Like I mean, because 70 is unnecessary. And they beat the team by they beat San Antonio by what, almost 15, 20?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like 70, you ain't gotta put 70 up in a game like that. You feel what I'm saying? And he dropped 70 on Wemby. You feel me?
Like 36 minutes, I think.
And he had 58 in the third. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, so I wonder if it's like, yo, you know, you good, young man. You know, but somebody posted what's your boy name? From he's always asking like, who's the first person to bust your ass?
Yes.
You saw that tweet, you know
Darius
what I mean?
Miles and
Darius Miles.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I should know that name for sure, but I forget everybody's name. If somebody posts Darius Miles, who's the first person to bust your ass, Wemby will never forget that. You know what I mean? This might be this, you know what I mean? So,
Well, like
yeah,
if Wemby ends up being the best basketball player of all time, right? Embiid has stamps that anytime
70
he
on
gets
his
asked
laptop.
about what was your welcome to the NBA moment, Embiid's name will get.
Also,
brought
he can always say, you know, hey, yeah, he's the best, but I did drop 70 on that nigga. So, I mean.
I don't know if that makes me, but just put it out there.
I'm just letting y'all know I did drop 70. It wasn't like I had a better game than him. I dropped fucking 70 points on this man. You know what I mean? Who gives a fuck he was a rookie? You know what I mean? It's still 70 of them things. That's a lot of fucking points. Crazy.
It's a lot of points. Someone else made a point that I appreciated of look at what Steve Kerr robbed us of by taking Steph and Clay out after three quarters every time the Warriors, every time they'd have 55 and the Warriors would be up by 18 points or something. Like, numbers are fun. right? Like sports is one of the like big round numbers are fun. Let especially because now Clay, I mean, that era's passed, but like what could Clay have gone for on a couple of those nights? You know, what could Steph have done? Like I wish we got to know the answers to those questions, bro, because these are the three of us have talked about, like Kobe's 81 game, now Embiid 70. It's like those are games you remember for your whole life. Like I went back and watched that whole game, you know, of Embiid.
Right.
And the Sixers look like they're having so much fucking fun right now, by the way. You know what I mean? But yes, but Steve Kerr, why did you take that from us, bro?
Nothing has robbed us of more historic performances than the coaching brotherhood. Listen, bro, if I was a coach, fuck that brotherhood. If my guy's hot, I'm keeping him in. He's going to chase history. He's going to, put his name in history books, and we'll just, if you got an issue with me, whatever, I'll send you edible arrangements, the next day. It's nothing personal, but my dude had the hot hand, dog. We had to chase history. I'm sorry, bro. Fuck that coaching fraternity. This motherfucker has 60 points going into the fourth. We shooting for 82 here, dog.
Didn't Kobe have like a 63-point game in three quarters or 69
in 3 quarters against?
And they took him out
against Dallas,
and then he had 81 the next joint. You know what I'm saying?
It was
the next game.
A couple seasons.
But it was like a couple weeks later. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I thought we learned from Kobe. I thought we learned then. You know what I'm saying? Like nah. Let him play it out. I know the Raptors game was a closer game. You feel me? But let him play it out. You know what I'm saying? We want to see that type shit. So.
Well, to pull back the Draymond Green curtain, we were recording as this game was actively happening, and Dre was talking about how it's a bummer for Clay and Steph. He wasn't blaming Steve. He was just like that. I'm
blaming Steve.
Right. Dre was like that. We were always blowing teams out back then. Yeah. So it was like a 20, 30 point game, and it was about like 12 or 14 about in the fourth quarter, about to start the fourth quarter when Joe was sitting, and Dre was like, "I really hope the Spurs keep it close because he wants to see."
Right.
And I think Dre is. I feel like the players are probably like wanting to see the numbers, but also understanding the like, why are we going to play them if we're up by 30 situation. So it was. He definitely was hoping that the Spurs kept it close enough, and they did. They kept it close enough, and they ended up getting blown out. But he kept it close enough to keep Joe in the game.
Yeah, well, I've told y'all, bro. The in-season tournament making margin of victory, a factor there. That's like the closest thing that we've got to actually seeing guys really, really kind of run it up on that. So that's another reason I like the in-season tournament.
18 rebounds, too. I mean, the motherfucker was playing basketball. He wasn't just chasing points. He was balling. You feel me? We can't gloss over that. He dominated in every way. Crazy.
We've talked about, the nights that basketball is the most fun are the nights when it feels like a community and like everyone's watching the games and stuff. And the reaction that KD had when someone told him that Embiid scored 70 was like, I will remember that for a long time. You know what I mean?
You saw like the boyhood joy in him from this. Yes. Like, you know what I'm saying? You saw why we do this sport shit. Like, and he turned back into like an 11-year-old fan.
He's such a purist. He's the perfect person to ask. And it was the exact reaction you would expect.
What was the last time you saw KD's? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, he's the best scorer we've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, oh my, like 70, like, he looked off into the universe. Like, he couldn't fathom. And also, like, the way Embiid plays, he shoots threes, but he doesn't play like a lot of these guys where they're shooting a bunch of deep balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, yeah, man. Like, it's amazing to see KD, the best scorer, you know what I'm saying, that we've ever seen reacting that way. I mean, it was beautiful to see, really.
I was going to say, what was the last time
you saw After a game winner. He just hit a game winner, double clutch game winner. And he's like 70.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
What was the last time you saw KD smile that, his most genuine smile?
You saw his molars. You saw his wisdom teeth. You know what I mean?
So the little dangling thing in the back of his
mouth. Yeah, exactly. We also had that same night, Cat dropped 62. And according to the reporting, it was like, They were checking on what Embiid was doing. They were trying to make sure his number got to somewhere close to it. And I know their coach wasn't happy. Now, obviously, the Wolves are number one in the West. Like, they're not just but it's not just like empty stats, right? Like, this is a real basketball team and everything else. But I did think that was pretty fucking funny. I have to admit.
Someone dropped the Magic Johnson clip when he's talking about the Dream Team practice. Someone dropped that shit and said, this is Karl Anthony Towns seeing that Embiid put up 7 though. You better get him back, Karl. You know that part? Just perfect. The stars aligned just for that moment, bro. 30 fucking years ago.
I hate it for Carl that it happens like that. You know, it seems like it. You know, even when he's balling this year. You know what I'm saying? They the first in the West. You feel me?
And it was a horrendous no call that lost in that game, though.
You said what?
It was a horrendous no call.
For sure. He got hit. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. But it's just like it. Of course, it happened to Carl. You know what I mean? Of course, it happened to Carl. Right? You know, 62 in an L against Charlotte, and you know, and then Embiid drops 70 and smacks the shit out of Wemby, like.
Right, Leaky Black, who never made a free throw in his whole NBA career, made the free throw that locked that game up. Like,
did you hear the call? Did you hear the call?
I love Leaky. Yeah, the Charlotte announcing team is so fucking good. They are incredible, bro.
Those small market teams are fun as shit. Like watching NBA, what's it called? League Pass. When you can watch the small market shit, I love those small market teams, like the Kings.
The broadcasters,
before they were popping. The broadcast,
yeah,
broadcast, yeah. Like the Kings, like prior to when they were good. I think it was 2008, 2019 when they had that really fun team that really didn't do shit. Like, you know what I mean? But like that's when I started getting hip to how fun their team was, their broadcast team was. But yeah.
All right, we have big Bucks news, and we are going to talk to Ti Windisch about this in an interview at the end of the episode. But we had to talk about it first. Let's do this in two parts: the firing and the hiring. On the firing, they're firing a coach who's 30-13 this season in Adrian Griffin. How shocked were you guys to get that alert that they were firing him?
I was a bit shocked. But at the same time, I feel like we might have seen this coming. I thought that they might have given him a full season and realized he wasn't the guy in the off season. But you know, that 30-13 record, it's just kind of fool's gold because like before the season started, I think I know for sure I had the Bucks winning it all. Now I'm not sure if they make it out the East. Right. That defense is not what it used to be. Of course, you know, they lost Drew Holiday. Of course, that factors in. You know, you lose your best point of attack defender. But you know, the bread and butter of that Bucks defense was that back wall with Lopez and Giannis, and that has been fucking leaky as hell this season, right? So you know they got to fix that shit. But I mean, you know, we heard the stories like at the top of the season, Terry Stotts quit before the season even started. Your most tenured, you know, assistant. The guy who is, you know, who's going to help you maximize Dame and help you work through all the first year growing pains that a first year coach would have. And you alienate that guy to the point where he leaves before you even play a game. Like that's when my, you know, radar first went up. And even before that, there was a quote, like you remember when the whole fucking, you know, everyone went crazy because Giannis said, if Milwaukee doesn't put a contender around me, I'm leaving. Like everyone went crazy off that quote. But if you dig deeper in those quotes, he was alluding to how he wasn't quite confident in the coaching there. You know, how he wasn't quite confident in Adrian Griffin. And that's what hopped out to me. Like, of course, people say, yeah, you know, Giannis is the guy who handpicked, you know, Adrian Griffin. But, bro, sometimes you pick some shit and you realize, yo, I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like just because you picked it early, you know, you made a decision early doesn't mean that you have to be, you know, wed to it, I feel like. But, you know, that quote hopped out to me. And, you know, I tweeted that shit out back in August. I was like, bro, that would be what's concerning me if I'm a Bucks fan, because it seems like he's not on board with AG. And then we got the reports about how, you know, of course, we knew that Bobby Portis blew up in the locker room after the in-season tournament loss to the Pacers, where he was like, you know, the scheming just isn't fitting us. We got to fix this shit. And then we got reports about how, you know, even the front office wasn't on board with AG. So if you lose the locker room and you lose the front office, bro, like, you know, your time is limited, dog. So
mid-season, though. That's what gets me. I just didn't think it'd be mid-season. I think you at least give them a year. I know we thought they'd be world stoppers, and they're not. You know, I mean, we thought it'd be impossible to stop that team. Does not look anything like that. But mid-season is crazy.
They're 30-13, though.
I know. And they just won, 5 out of 6? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they're playing well at the moment.
Adrian Griffin has the 5th highest coaching winning percentage of all time.
Yeah. but I mean, they're not what we expected. But I just
they're the number 2 and super fair. They're the number they're the number 1 offense in the NBA. Obviously, the defense, as Tyler mentioned, has completely been cooked.
And that's what made them special. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Other than Giannis, obviously.
But bro, that record is a bit of fool's gold because so many wins was just them, you know, having star power with Dame and Giannis late, right? Like that's, and of course you need the guys to be the guys when the game's on the line. But in these early season games, like you should not be sweating it out with Detroit and Charlotte, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm in no way denying that it's fool's gold. It's just that it is very sparkly fool's gold to be 30 and 13. You know what I mean? It's not like it's like
first year coach
they're still
the season,
third.
for sure.
Yeah, it's not like you're still fourth in the. It's like you're 30 and 13. Most teams in the league would kill to have that record. Like as a Lakers fan who's just been watching .500 for 2 straight years, right? Like just 2 games above 500, 2 games below 500.
That's a very different team. 500.
For sure. It's but with similar top end talent, you know, at least in terms of like, you know, the top 2 guys. So it's just, I don't disagree with the decision because I think Tyler hit it on the head. Like you don't get, how many seasons do you get with prime Giannis, right? You're going to waste one of them just like, you fucked up, but you're going to just waste this one. Like I think it's the right move. Now, go ahead.
Doc, the right move for what, though?
So let's talk about Tyler, the other half of it.
Yeah, but Tyler brought up in the group chat, he said the coaching pool is a puddle. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of options, and Doc is an option that's available, and that's the one you want to go with. Like that I mean, it seems like that's a step back. You know, he's like a perpetual underachiever. And I'm not talking about life, I'm just talking about, you know, coaching. I don't know the nigga. I can't talk about him as a human. I mean, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But as a coach, we've seen that constantly. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't know how that makes sense. So mid-season to get Doc is crazy to me.
Here's a stat, and we'll talk about, I think we all have the same opinion of Doc Rivers. And so I think we probably all have the same reaction to this move. Here's a stat I would love to know. Has anyone failed to win a championship with more Hall of Famers than the Hall of Famers who did not win a championship with Doc Rivers? I mean, like not anybody else that's more obvious. Like, you know what I'm saying? We think of Doc when we hear that.
And we gotta filter that even more. Who has failed aside from the Celtics in 08, which like who has failed to make a conference finals with that much Hall of Fame talent? Mm-hmm. Never mind win the championship. Who has failed to make a conference finals with that many Hall of Fame?
Sheesh.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I'll say this.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. That's the perfect response.
Yeah, the reports that came out today that confirmed it said that, you know, they're also going to be doing some searches for some assistants to kind of, you know, shore things up a bit there. I do think that Doc will fix that defense. I trust him to do that much at least. And I think if they have the right assistants, you know, because Doc's whole shit is, bro, you cannot adjust in the playoffs, you know, and because we see that teams figure your coaching style out mid-series and you're done. You know, most blown 3-1 leagues of all time, right? So maybe if they get the right assistants, because like I said, I think the thing they need to do to become contenders is fix that defense. And I do trust Doc to at least do that. I'm not sure what he's going to do in the postseason, though.
Gonna hope that, you know, like Giannis and Dame have, I mean, I guess I can get why Doc would be so motivated, because this could be for him if they do win.
Redemption.
And he has proven champion. He has a proven champion already in Giannis, right? And
of course, Doc is motivated. That's not the question.
No. But think about this from his perspective. Well, because there's also some reporting out that he was hired to be a consultant about what they should do with the head coach, and that he straight up fucking he Dick Cheney'd it, bro. He was like, you know what? I think you do need a new coach, and you know who it should be? Glenn Doc Rivers.
Who in this room is a coach?
I ran the
numbers.
Yeah, I think he was consulting with Adrian Griffin, though, like helping him work through shit.
That's foul.
That's even more. That's more snakish to me, though. Yikes!
I saw a lot of people making the same like consultant speak joke, where it's like, I have a few small notes and one very, very large note.
So it feels to me like you and your friend are getting like beat up at school or something, and you're like, man, me and this dude, like, we're just getting, this dude's bullying us. Like, let me go find someone else to step in, and you go get a 90-pound freshman to stand next to you. I just like, oh, we don't have the killer instinct right now. We need to rebuild the culture. We're gonna go get ... Doc Rivers. Like, that's the fix.
My mom hit me up. Doc? That's all she said. Doc? You know what I mean? She's like,
the FBI agents on it.
She's a fan of black coaches just off the strength. So she's like, I fuck, you know. She's like, but he think he got what it takes. I'm like, me? No, that nigga trash. That's what my actual response was. Mama, that nigga trash. But
the
anyway,
FBI agents monitoring everyone's text messages must have thought everyone got sick at the same time on that day. It was just a bunch of people texting
the
Doc.
COVID spiking. The COVID, right? The new strain. You know what I mean?
I really don't. I really don't get it. And I have to say, as a fan of Giannis, I'm bummed. As a fan of Tyler's Doc Rivers impression now being coupled with Giannis, I guess that's exciting. But I truly don't understand what they're. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Of all of the moves to make, I do not get this. Like, I don't think they could have hired anyone.
You're not supposed to get it.
Less.
Okay. It's nothing to get.
Here's the thing.
It doesn't make sense.
Here's the thing.
I mean?
I think we all agree that we're skeptical about Doc Rivers being a championship coach in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But is he an improvement over Adrian Griffin? Because I say yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, no, and that's a good point. I think the thing that's surprising to me is what we just talked about. You could have played it safe and gone to the end of the year, seen if it worked out. Right? They didn't do that. They made the aggressive, like I would say, it's probably the more analytical decision. You have X number of years with Giannis. You have to maximize those years. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to, we're going to make the move right now. And then it feels like you completely reverse that philosophy by hiring Doc. Let's do the safest, only the most casual basketball fan thinks this is a good idea move. Like that. That's what I don't understand. You expect the thinking that leads to firing that guy at 30-13 to lead to hiring like a young, brilliant coach, like to hiring Sean McVay or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's surprising to me is it's like you go super aggressive and analytical here, and then someone's grandma who stopped watching basketball in 2010 would love this on the hire. That's what surprised me.
In that situation, you hire, if it's like what Miami did with Spo. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we know this dude is brilliant. We'll give him the keys to the Lamborghini. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we've never heard of him.
Film grinder.
This is wild. Yeah. This is wild, but we believe in him. Not a guy that's just like, we've seen what he's done in the big moments. That doesn't seem like that makes sense. When, you know what I mean? Like, if you're that's not a chance. That's not taking a chance on something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It doesn't make sense if you're going to go with the aggressive route to me. You know,
you're hiring a guy who's
not every team has a Joe Mazzulla, guys. Not every team has a Joe Mazzulla. Did you see Ian Carmel's in the wings for his opportunity?
No, what did he
say?
Shea Serrano was watching The Town and just tweeted, I'm watching The Town for the 14th time and like, God damn, is it a great movie or something? And Ian Carmel quote tweeted it and said, the Celtics are down 15 in the fourth quarter. Like they need a lineup change to turn the tide. Joe Mazzulla, and then the Shea Serrano.
The layup was there and he took it. Got to get those easy wins. Shouts to Ian, man.
Oh man, I was I was dying. All right, well, I guess we're gonna see. Here's my thing: you hired a coach who you're gonna be up 3-0 in the first round, and everyone's gonna be tweeting the eyeball emojis that you're up 3-0. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But you're right; he's an improvement. I mean, that's a fair, but that's actually the best point in favor of hiring Doc Rivers that I've heard. Did they get a better coach? Almost certainly, yes. From what everyone has said about Adrian Griffin.
Yeah, I'm just always of the belief that solutions don't have to be absolute. Sometimes they can be incremental. And like I said, I think that the staff
doesn't agree with you. Jackson doesn't agree with you.
Jackson's generation doesn't agree with him, but Tyler is a black Democratic voter in a purple state, is what Tyler just said. That's exactly what he just said.
Hey, like I said, you got to take those wins you get them.
Did you see the? I don't know, nigga. Go ahead.
You know, but like I said, I'm interested in seeing who they put on that staff as assistants now. Like that's the next move that I'm interested in here. Bring Stotts back, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? If an asshole ran that man out the building, bring that man back.
Might be enjoying that. Might be enjoying that
coach
not waking
money.
up.
Yeah, that fired coach.
I'm trying to tell y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? Told y'all, been trying to say it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. We're gonna talk a little. Well, it's not really football. We're gonna talk a little. We're gonna talk a little white culture, guys. Taylor Swift has achieved all kinds of incredible things in her career, and I just want to give her credit that she's not really been known for being a great dancer, at least in my knowledge of her, but she's invented something called swag surfing.
Wow.
That's huge.
Never heard of that before. Who is this white woman who has invented swag surfing?
John can't even do the bit. Look at how disgusting.
He is disgusted.
It's filthy. It's nasty, bro. I don't want to take part in this.
just the gentrification, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like I feel like maybe these are my alumni blinders on, but I feel like A&T kind of made swag surfing big. I remember that was the first time I heard of it being a big fucking deal in arenas at like 2010 and shit. But now, Taylor Swift is on the scene and swag surfing is all the rage. So
I think swag surfing it came out and it took everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think A&T showed us that everybody does it though. Like, yeah. We didn't see it wasn't like the snap dance where everybody had a YouTube video of doing a snap dance. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like I said, I'm not at all saying A&T invented it, but that's when it first popped on my radar.
For sure. But I'm saying, like, that's when we was like, because when you saw it, you was probably in the crib like wanting to swag surf. I
was like, oh, I miss college.
Everybody,
goddamn.
We all felt the same way seeing that video. So we all took part in shit like this. You feel me? Mm-hmm. I think that's what, like. Also, my exact response to the video, all I said was nope. I didn't want to shit on her because I actually think she's a solid person. Y'all hit me to, that she's not that she's a really good human being. And so I was like, I don't want to.
We put you on to Taylor Swift? Tyler and I'm not a Taylor Swift fan.
No, I'm never. No, first you said you heard some bangers. I never heard shit. I don't know a single thing that she's done. Y'all played a song and I was like, I don't hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like. But I'm saying, like, y'all told me that she's a solid motherfucker. So I was like, I ain't trying to shit on her. She's solid. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just going to say, no, this is where I draw the line. You feel me? Personally, you don't have to give a fuck what I think. But nope. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of niggas felt the exact same. It looked nasty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So as a nigga who lives in an area where there's a gentrified fucking, like a big-ass box house being built right behind my shit, blocking out the sun in my backyard, nigga. I don't want to participate in this bit, nigga. Fuck that shit, bro. It's nasty out here, dog. Ain't no room to play with it. Sheesh.
Yeah, look, I think Taylor Swift is a very good person, right? Once I found out that she gave $50,000 bonuses to every single worker on her tour, like, I was like, okay, yeah, I was like, yeah, you're good forever. Like, I think that she's on the receiving end of a lot of vitriol that shouldn't be aimed at her. Like, aim that shit at the media for like, sensationalizing her, being a Chiefs fan now. That shit ain't got nothing to do with Taylor. That's her fucking man that she's supporting. You know what I'm saying?
And she was just having fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I knew what it was going to become. Like, of course, I respect the motherfucker here at swag surfing. The swag, it want to hit that motherfucker. That shit fun as hell. You know what I mean? It's a vibe. But you knew what's gonna come after it. You know what I mean? We knew what was happening. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Swift. She brought it to the masses, and it's like, these aren't the masses that we wanted brought to. You feel what I'm saying? Let's hide certain things, nigga. I remember there was this particular food that I like. It's like, I'm not gonna say it because. You'll realize. And so, like, dating, being with Rather, there's a particular food that South Asian people eat that's fire as fuck. And I was like, why ain't y'all tell me about this? And the South Asian motherfucker hit me up. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you got to keep some things to yourself. And I didn't take that personally. I'm like, nigga, you right. You know what I'm saying? And so
oxtail is $80 a pound now. Like,
no, but also, I'll go to motherfucking Whole Foods and see some South Asian dishes that ain't made by a South Asian company, nigga. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and like you said, the oxtails, they running the shit up. You feel me? Like, nigga, we can't have shit. So sometimes you gotta hide some shit. I wanted that to stay hidden, nigga. Keep that amongst the Negroes, the blacks, the niggers. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep that amongst us. You know what I mean? We don't want that out there.
The problem with like the reason
the moon crickets.
It never. It's been co-opted by the snow roaches, my brother.
Out of our business, you feel me?
The snow roaches have gotten a hold of it. The problem that swag surfing always had is that the hawk-like white cultural appropriators in America that are always circling black culture looking for something to swoop down and snatch up, right? They're looking for, is it fun? Yeah. Do you require a lot of rhythm to do it? No. You know, like you said, did she do it?
You don't need an 8 count for the swag surf. You know what I'm saying? You don't need an 8 count. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Bro.
You don't need none of that. You know
And
what I'm
can
saying?
you do it while drunk? Yes.
Bro, white people love songs that tell them like what to do. Like if you're ever around a group of white people and Flow Rider's Low come on that low, everybody's dropping. They get low. They love instructional dance
They
songs,
ain't throwing
bro.
ass. They just
Yeah.
Electric Slide.
I've seen a few. Actually, no, the country nigga in Tennessee that was doing the line dance and shit. He hit that hole kind of nicely. You feel me? But yeah, that's been a difficult one. I think they struggle to catch on with white folks because they can't really. But you hear them like if somebody tells them what to do, like you see them doing it like verbatim. Like they don't have any type of, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
It's one thing white people
Is
can
this
do.
cool? Do I look weird? I don't know.
It's
just
read
doing
the
what they're telling
instruction
me.
manual, bro.
Right.
You know, we can't read the
They
instruction
dance
manual.
like putting Legos together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I do think it's connected to, and Tyler and also Trill Tyler have both commented on this, and I really do think it's one of the great anthropological observations of the internet era. White people also dance to the melody and not to the beat, which is, it's like there is an inability to understand the underlying beat of a song. And so I feel like dances that have verbal instructions are very important to white people. I do feel that.
to the melody? How do you do that?
The next time you're at a wedding with white people, watch. I promise. Like I want to be clear. I'm not saying this trying to set myself apart from white people. It cured me. Like Shar had been trying to figure out why I couldn't dance in a basic way for our entire relationship. And I think it was Trill's tweet the first time I saw it. And I went, I am always moving to the fucking melody. And I played music, so I know what the beat is. And let me just only focus on that. And all of a sudden we're at weddings and I'm the white guy who does not trip over himself dancing.
What's funny is you saying next time you're at a wedding with white people. I've never been to one, but I'm going to one this year for the first time.
Oh, you've got to report back.
I'll be able to. I'll let you know how.
You've got to report
man.
back.
That's crazy.
When are you going? No, I'm going to put it on the calendar. We need to talk about it.
I think it's this summer. I don't be knowing. I think it's this summer. But
Okay.
yeah. I'll let you know. I'll look it up.
When they start playing Taylor Swift or whatever they're going to play, I promise you will see when the melodies start, or when the chorus starts, they'll start dancing harder. You know what I mean?
What's great about that is that's when I'll probably sit down. You know what I mean? And I can just really watch. I'm not dancing to Taylor Swift. That's just not in me. You know what I mean? No.
Johnson for a world of hurt when Mr. Brightside comes on. He has no idea what is coming his way.
Can you sing a little bit of Mr. Brightside?
Absolutely no idea.
Sing a little bit of that? What is that?
Coming out of my shell and I'm feeling just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all.
And people are, and you will see people dancing to the gotta be down, not to the beat. I promise you.
I think the most white
Jealousy.
song at a wedding is Shout. I just had to throw that in there because that'll probably play.
Make me want to shout. They dancing to that shit?
They are.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
If you want to really get into the cultural difference between different races of Americans, talk to a wedding DJ.
Oh wow. Oh, I got a homie. We should bring him on the pod.
If you have if you have a friend who's a wedding DJ who DJs different races weddings, I promise you that will be an entertaining conversation.
I'm gonna call him after the pod. I'm gonna call him after the record. I'm trying to figure that out. This is very interesting.
You might unlock something for him by pointing out that white people dance to the melody and not the rhythm. Yeah,
he might be confused too.
He might solve something for him.
Just to put a button on this segment, I googled. I was trying to see if there were any funny news articles about this Taylor Swift thing because everything she does on NFL games gets aggregated and stuff.
Yeah.
And sportingnews.com. I'm going to read you the title of an article and the first line.
You're going to make John angry.
Probably. Title: What is swag surfing? Everything to know about the Chiefs' viral dance celebration as Taylor Swift, Donna Kelsey participate. Editor's note right off the bat.
Well, hold on. First of all, they fucked their SEO up because Taylor Swift is not supposed to be that late. They're assuming everyone's going to Google swag surfing.
Swag surfing and not Taylor Swift.
Swag surfing. That should have been Taylor Swift's viral dance, swag surfing explained.
How to internet with Gonabasio.
Sorry.
Editor's note. This article has been updated from its original version with additional context about the origins of swag surfing in Atlanta.
The origins.
Just didn't even know the writer, a white man named Jacob, clearly did not even know.
Gotta be a Jake. It's always a Jake or a Zach. One of the two, bro.
Shout out to Jacob.
Might be Matt too, but go ahead.
Oh, all right.
Had no idea existed prior. We're going
to take a break, and we'll be back to talk all the crazy Bucks news with Ti Windisch.
Every time I buy tickets, it's a weird pick-your-own adventure experience with a bunch of hidden fees, and I never know what I'm going to spend. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Gametime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you.
I'm looking at the Gametime app right now. The Wizards have quite a few home games that I'm interested in coming up. They've got the Phoenix Suns visiting in February. They've got the Celtics coming there a couple weeks after that. Gametime offers last-minute ticket deals, zone deals. It's easy to find and buy tickets of every kind of event in your area. You can view all the seats in your venue. I'm very much interested in the Hennessy Suites that they have going on at the Wizards home arena, so definitely interested in investigating that a little bit more with this app.
Gametime is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All-in prices show your total upfront, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. They're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. And with zone deals, you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats for big-time savings. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code JANJ for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code JANDJ for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We're really excited to welcome on Ti Windisch from the Gyro Step Podcast. Ti is a Bucks expert, and obviously it's been a very momentous time. Ti, thank you so much for hopping on the show. And what's the last week or two been like for you covering the Bucks, brother?
Thank you for having me first before I get into what it's been like. So I hate being the person who does this, but 2 days ago was my birthday, which is great. Everything else. I'm not trying to elicit happy birthdays here.
Happy
belated
birthday.
Yeah.
And like 1 p.m. or 11 or whatever it was, you just see that Adrian Griffin has been fired by the Bucks. Woj bomb come through my computer in the middle of the workday. And there had been so much talk about what Griffin had done wrong, the few things he had done right. There was a pretty boisterous anti-Griffin contingent, locally here in Milwaukee from the start, I would say. And then, of course, a lot of folks nationally also would glom onto a couple things. But I really did not expect him to just get fired. I mean, they're still were 30-13 at the time, everything else. And then, of course, the news comes that it's probably going to be Doc Rivers. Maybe it's going to be Kenny Atkinson. Then it's for sure Doc Rivers, announced live on TNT. Then it's not. Then it is again. Now he's getting $40 million. So it has been a roller coaster. I would say the things that have come out about how the Griffin tenure was going really make you more receptive to another coach, even if it is Doc Rivers and the baggage that comes with it. But it's been just a wild ride. I mean, the first part is just, to make a big high-profile coaching change when you're second in the East, I think tied second in the NBA in record, is just not something you really see ever, especially in the first year of a head coach. The Giannis and Dame of it all makes it, I think, even messier. But I think the Bucks probably did need a change. I think, if guys were not even listening to the defensive play calls and everything, that's just not tenable going into a playoffs when you have to win and you have Giannis and Dame. Like, you cannot waste a season. Some would say, are you doing that with Doc Rivers? Maybe, maybe not. We can get into that of it all, but it's just been wild is the one word summary I would use of this week.
How old did you turn?
29.
Oh, that birthday doesn't count, bro. We tell Jackson all the time, you turn 23 and you're 23 till you're 30. So you didn't miss a good one.
I'll gladly take that.
I'm old enough to when you're 23 till you're 35. You know what I mean?
Almost 30.
That's
I've
all
been
I
almost
am.
30 in my house for 5 years, so I will gladly be 23. That sounds much better to me.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned that there was an anti Adrian Griffin contingency in the fan base, and you're in Wisconsin in the heart of it all. But I saw it on Twitter that there was for sure a civil war with Bucks fans on, this contingency was for AG, this side wasn't. Like, where were you at during all of that?
Yeah, all on up to it, I was pro. I mean, I really did think there were some good things he did. I thought number one was they were really malleable defensively. One thing I really liked about how he coached is, after the first 5 games, they tried to use Brook as like in the Raptors' aggressive defense, Brook Lopez, and it was a disaster. And they had to just stop doing that and go back to a more aggressive form of the Mike Budenholzer drop defense. But when that would inevitably not work, like they would play zone, they would switch everything, they would trap or blitz with Bobby Portis. Like you would just see all these different coverages. And that idea, I think, is good. Like I think Milwaukee in the past has kind of famously not been flexible enough on both ends with how they play. But I thought, okay, there's been these tweaks to the general scheme, which is the drop defense. And I think they're getting to it. And really, I think through the month of December, there were a lot of really positive strides. They won a lot of games in a row. They had a couple of bad losses. I think Christmas they lost to the Knicks, but they had just beaten them, 2 days prior. So those 2 game sets can just be weird. But then January, they just came out flat. And I think that's when kind of the articles, like the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reported that, some of the best defensive moments of the year, the players were ignoring the play call on defense and just kind of doing what they wanted to do, which that to me is like, okay, you're probably cooked at that point if that's going on. And that's the best moments. A bunch of sources have just reported generally that like the messaging just wasn't getting through, right? Players were not feeling it. We're not receptive. We're not bought in enough. And I think that plus the defensive struggles kind of is what since firing has turned me. But I thought he could make the strides. I thought Griffin could be a good enough coach. And I frankly just never thought that he would get fired because you end up in a situation where there's so few options. But clearly the people who were out on him saw the red flags, Terry Stotts leaving before the season, and the article with Bobby Portis after the in-season tournament. Clearly those people were onto something, and I overlooked those things to too much of a degree.
So, of course, this is, the defense we've seen from the Bucks this season has not been a championship defense. And of course that happens when you lose one of the best perimeter players in the league with Drew, of course. But, where are you at? Do you think that this defense has declined because it is a personnel issue or a scheming issue?
I think it's both. It was encouraging. They defended Cleveland pretty well last night. I mean, the Cavs still scored even without, of course, they're without Mobley and Garland for a while now. But I thought overall their defense looked a little better. But I think it's both. Like I think their scheme was still too aggressive. They were going for offensive rebounds and trying to force turnovers. They really weren't good at either thing, but they ratcheted back a bit, but probably not enough. I think we're probably going to see, I mean, who knows, but we're probably going to see the Joe Prunty / Doc Rivers whenever he's officially hired. It hasn't happened yet. As we record, I assume it will on this podcast just because that's the max entertainment value. But I think they're going to probably keep Giannis closer to the basket and then just shore up the defensive rebounding. They've given up too many offensive rebounds and just play a little more conservative on that end. Basically, without Drew, I think you just need to make players hit shots over you, which honestly I think in the playoffs is kind of where you end up anyway. I mean, good offense beats good defense. But I also think they just do need more perimeter defense. This was my most common refrain pro Griffin in terms of like their 1-2-3 is Dame, Malik Beasley, and Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton in 2024, who was a much different defender than when he was the 3-and-D guy like 6 years ago. That's bad. That's just really bad. And as good as Brook Lopez is, as great as Giannis is, having no stopper on the perimeter at all or anything close to it is just very hard to overcome no matter how you run your defense. And off the bench, they're not bringing ace defensive personnel either. The young players, Andre Jackson and Marjon Beauchamp, have shown flashes, but I don't think they're like lockdown defenders right now. So we've gotten reporting, like I think they're going to make a trade to find more defense as well to throw in here. But I think the scheme just, shoring it up, being less aggressive, making teams just beat you versus getting lost or blowing a rotation and just giving up dunks. I think that will help, at least in the short term, make them be able to just survive on their offense like they did earlier in the season.
It's chip or bust with this team. Like Giannis feels that way. The fans feel that way. Dame feels that way. What do you think they saw in Doc that we didn't that can get them to the point where they're a championship winning team?
Well, 16 years ago, no, I don't actually think it's related to that. 14 years ago, made another finals. So for those keeping score at home, had a lot of success when I was in high school. But realistically, though, I think they tried the first time head coach. They took the big swing on Adrian Griffin of like, let's find the guy who can, and I'm not quoting anything, but the idea of like, let's find our guy who's going to be the coach for 10 years. He can grow with us and he can be here and run this team and all these other things. And they just failed. I mean, they swung hard and they missed hard. I mean, there's the reporting that Giannis just is not a Nick Nurse guy. And that's why they didn't go with Nick Nurse. And then out of the other options, it was like Kenny Atkinson or Adrian Griffin. Myself, as a not Nick Nurse guy as well, to put it mildly, I'm still okay with Giannis's line of thinking, even though Nurse is doing a good job in Philly. But I think they now want to shift course and go, we need someone who's proven. Like, we can't take the risk again. And I think even like a Kenny Atkinson, who's an assistant with Golden State right now, and they could have reached out and tried to do that like the Wolves did with Chris Finch a couple years ago. I think they wanted a true known commodity, someone that there's no question this coach will come in and Giannis and Dame, which are two big time names, are going to listen and are going to be bought in and locked in on both ends of the floor. Frankly, if you look around at this point in the year, I mean, there's not many other guys besides Doc. There really aren't, who are that available and who have been consulting with the Bucks coaching staff, which was like a wild detail that came out of all of this. Like, for months, he's been like meeting with Adrian Griffin, or at least did once. I mean, it's kind of back and forth on how that's been reported or who reached out first.
Yeah, we said it was a bit of a Dick Cheney, though, right?
Kind of.
He's like, oh, are you in need of a new coach? I might know someone who could use $40 million.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't think it's a snake move personally, because I think everything that's come out, probably Griffin was going to be out the door either way. I think it just made sense. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong on that. But I think the stars kind of aligned for Doc. He had a bunch of leverage. He made use of it in the contract negotiations based on what we've heard. And that's why they just needed like someone who could get him a good plan A, which they haven't had. If your plan B isn't as good, I mean, our plan A is still Dame and Giannis. So hopefully that just gets the job done, I think, is where they're at now.
I think it for sure looks like a move where they let the fox into the chicken coop with letting Doc Rivers be the consultant to me.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to, the games that he called, you can tell that he still wanted to coach. Like, he used to be so hard on Darvin Ham. Like I don't understand these rotations. What is he doing here? Like, and we rarely heard him criticize any other coach. Like, he probably wanted that Lakers job. He probably saw that Ham might be on the chopping block too. Yeah. So, I for sure, thought that was a big conflict of interest.
He was picking the wiggly tooth, Tyler, right? He was like, who could I maybe lean on a little harder here for sure?
Well, the funniest part is that, if you line up the timelines, if he started consulting like late December, that's their worst games of the year have been since he started. So that is kind of funny if you just look at it as like, what tips was he giving and how did they work out here?
Yeah. He might have sabotaged that dude.
If he did,
no telling with Doc, man. No telling with that dude.
The bag is secured. Bro. The bag was secured.
Notorious under the bus thrower. I wouldn't put it past him, dog. And that's another thing I'm looking forward to because, there's going to be a tough postseason loss, and he is going to throw motherfuckers under the bus. Like, Giannis is going to be wondering, how the fuck did I get here, dog?
But also, I don't think Dame and Giannis are the folks that's going to deal with it in the way they how when in Philly, they going to let them know exactly what fucking time it is. You feel me? So, shit ain't going to end up sweet like it did in Philly if he goes that route. He has to know that. You know what I mean?
He's just got to pick smarter. I mean, that's the thing is I kind of wonder too, like, is Griffin going to get further thrown under? Like after a bad loss, like, oh, we have to undo. Like, we've been had to work on so much. We're building from the ground up because I came in
he's like
mid-season.
a president.
They've been socialized to losing or being mediocre. Like,
right. It's like Doc's going to come in and be like a president that just got to like, well, I got to deal with the last guy's economy.
Yep.
I mean, what am I supposed to do with this?
That's right there for him. I think that's free. And then he can start picking players next year that are going to be at fault next. And he gets an extra built-in year there, which is nice for him.
There's no Ben Simmons in there that's just going to eat that. You know what I mean? There's not a Ben Simmons on that. You know what I mean?
No, there's not.
I need Tyler's Doc Rivers impression telling Adrian Griffin to play Brook Lopez higher up, further away from the basket on defense.
Hey, look! You want him to attack the screens. You don't want to put him in drop coverage. He's not a good rim protector. I'm telling you right now, he's overrated as a rim protector. Don't put him back there. I'm telling you, he probably sabotaged that man.
Well, he also now you're winning me over to this because he went on the Bill Simmons podcast and was basically just like, only talked about how their offense could be better, which to me is hilarious if it is a tactical move in terms of like, I mean, I can't save this defense either, but we could get more out of the offense. So let's talk about how that could be better.
Yes. So, the thing about this hire with me is you remember in the summer where Giannis said, bro, if y'all don't put a contender around me, I'm just not resigning. And that was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, NBA Twitter went crazy with that. But in that very same interview, let me see. I got it pulled up here. It was an interview with the New York Times. And this is what hopped out to me when everyone was going crazy over what Giannis said about, you know, how he'd leave if there wasn't a contender around him. So Milwaukee fired his coach, Mike Budenholzer, and hired Adrian Griffin, who had been an assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors. That change, Antetokounmpo said, is part of why he is unsure if he'll sign an extension. Now, here's the Giannis quote. You've got to see the dynamics, he said, how the coach is going to be, how we're going to be together. At the end of the day, I feel like all my teammates know and the organization knows that I want to win a championship. As long as we're on the same page with that and you show me and we go together to win a championship, I'm all for it. The moment I feel like, oh yeah, we're trying to rebuild, he paused briefly before continuing, there will never be hard feelings with the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe that we've had 10 unbelievable years, and there's no doubt I gave everything for the city of Milwaukee. Everything, every single night. Even when I'm hurt, I'm a Milwaukee Buck. I bleed green. I know this. This is my team, and it's going to forever be my team. I don't forget people that were there for me and allow me to be great and to showcase who I am to the world and gave me the platform. But we have to win another one. That was what hopped out to me, bro. Like, he did not seem confident in that Adrian Griffin hire from the very jump. And I expressed that on Twitter, and people were like, well, he's the guy who picked him. I'm like, bro, you can have buyer's remorse as soon as you drive that car off the lot. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't take, you know, a whole, you know, a lot of time to realize that. And, you know, that's why, you know, I've got my questions about the Doc hire, but I'm not mad at them cutting ties with Griffin because you don't have to commit to a mistake long term as soon as you realize it's a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, they've moved very aggressively since Horst took over in, I think, 2017 or 2016. One of my favorite things about John Horst as an executive is that willingness to, oh, I made a mistake, let's fix it. I mean, the year they won the title, their big offseason signing was DJ Augustine to be like the reserve point guard and run pick and roll. And it was disastrous. And they traded him at the deadline just a couple months later and got PJ Tucker, who ends up starting on the title team. Like they won't sit around and just go like, we'll make it work, everything else. I mean, they traded Drew Holiday. I mean, obviously you get Dame, that makes everything more palatable. But champion, an all-time Buck, like was so crucial to what they were and what they became. And I think that's what happened with Griffin too. The Giannis quotes are always interesting. One, I think Giannis just lies. And I've said this, but people kind of like, Bucks be like, well, like get up and like, no, don't accuse. I'm like, he says a lot of things. Giannis says a lot of things. If you read through the long quote about what it was like to lose Adrian Griffin, it starts off with, people think I have control. I don't make the decisions. I don't want to. It ends with, I wish I did have the control, but I don't. And it's like, what do you not want it? It's like, I do think his role in front office stuff is a little overblown. I think he gives like a yes or no. And then like then the front office goes from there. Like, I don't think he went in there and said it has to be Adrian Griffin. I think he said, not Nick Nurse. I like Adrian Griffin. And they went there from there. I'm not saying nothing rests on Giannis with this. Obviously, he did have a positive view on Griffin before, but I don't think he is as involved as some people do. I think like LeBron and what he has done has made it so a lot of people think that's every front office. And like, I don't think the Joker is in Denver. Like, we need to get this rookie in the draft this year or whatever else. Like, I think there's a lot of
He's not grinding tape.
I don't think I think he just wants to play. That's my job. I want to do my job.
I'll show up a little late, but I'll show up and for my horses. But yeah, I think he's certainly involved and they get his input, but I don't think he's making all the moves himself.
I was kind of curious about that because I think from an outsider's perspective, Giannis certainly, like we've certainly connected the breadcrumbs on AG being kind of his guy. And then I just don't believe there's any way a team like when they've just re-signed the guy, when he was talking about not being there if they're not a contender, I don't believe there's any way you fire a head coach at 30-13 without a sign off from the face of your franchise, right?
100% for sure.
But then I was curious at those quotes today that were sort of like, it's not, I agree with you. There's a little bit of the like, I'm just here. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
what do you want him to say though? Yeah, fuck that dude. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's time for him to go. You know
it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to me, like what he says at all. But I guess I'm just curious for Ty's perspective on, you said you feel like his the sort of late GM thing is like overblown a little bit with Giannis. I'm curious, like, what do you think? Like, what level of control do you think he wants if LeBron's on one end of the spectrum and the Joker's on the other end of the spectrum, right? Like, where does Giannis see himself and how much control is he flexing in these moves?
It would just be very funny if actually this whole time Joker was super involved and just playing it off. That was what I thought of during the question. But
that's very possible. I don't think that that's impossible.
I think there would probably be more guys from outside the U.S. on the roster. There's a few, but I think there'd be more can cars out there.
The Thanasis, signings would be obvious.
Involved at all, and Alex Antetokounmpo plays for the Wisconsin Herd again. Actually, just last night became the Herd all-time leader in games played. So there are Antetokounmpos all over the place in the Bucks org.
The Nasus is on the squad. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Just a source of joy for all. I think Bucks fans have just accepted like the meme. I don't know if you guys saw, he asked for mailbag questions for a pod with Dame like an hour after the news broke about Griffin, which is just the funniest thing of all time, to his Instagram group he's just like, I have a mailbag. Who wants to know anything? And I was like, wow, TA is like a true podcaster. Honestly, salute. Like, hey, this is great content. I feel bad for our team, but this is tremendous content.
He's quickly turning into one of my favorite players.
He is hilarious.
He's so unserious, dude. Like that whole Dame time celebration when he
he does everything wrong. You know what I mean? He can't do anything right.
Someone said he was doing the Dre time celebration when he did that. Doing the Draymond Green. Yeah, I love that dude, man.
You just have to accept now, like he's there. He's like there for moral support essentially, and he get an energy and he brings those things. To Giannis's role, I think he gives his input, and I would imagine that Horace, the Bucks front office, brain trust, ownership, whatever, probably it's like, okay, anyone Giannis is okay with, that's who we're going to pick from. We're not going to hire someone or trade for someone who Giannis is like actively against. Like I think he always wanted to play with Dame, and I think this is kind of the conflicting thing of Giannis and really any player. Giannis has never been one who has ever come out that he wanted a player traded, that he wanted to get rid of someone. He's wanted to play with other guys, but I don't think it's ever been a situation like we need to get this guy off the team. I think he gives his sign off on coaching candidates and players. Like if we can get them and it makes sense for the team, go do it. And then they go from there. I certainly think they're not making a major move without running it past him. I think they're not opening up that Thanasis roster spot without running it past him either. But I think that's kind of his role. And I will say maybe I'm swung by this, but I think Horst also does a good job of trying to make that very clear. Like he did a press conference before the game last night. And he said, I didn't consult any players. I went and talked to them after the move. Do I think that's BS? Yeah. Like I think Giannis had to sign off on some level, even if it was a back channel type deal. But I think that's a good thing for the org to do, to really, we're the bad guy. Giannis didn't get anyone traded. Giannis didn't get anyone fired. We get his input, but we didn't ask him about this. We just did it and we broke the news. Again, I don't think that's 100% true, but I think that's the right way to go about it, to not then frame this and have this like le GM criticism. Even it's probably going to come anyway, right? People are mad about everything, but they try and go about it that way at least.
What are your realistic expectations? How in your mind do you see this season going now with this coaching change?
Oh man. I mean, I still think they have a pretty good shot to win it all. I mean, I really do. Obviously, you're not going to go into many series thinking that they have the supreme coach, but also the Celtics have been everyone's favorite for 2 years or more than that. And I don't know how many Joe Mazzulla stands are out there either. I think it's just at the end of the day,
we have
players,
one on the pod.
Do we?
Yeah, Jackson, our producer.
Show yourself,
our producer. Yeah, show yourself.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the town?
It is a great movie.
The Celtics have 3 games up.
I love, hey, and that is what, are the Celtics going to hang a banner on that when they get bounced this year? They're going to say we had the best record in the regular season?
And the Bucks probably bounce them too, but anyway.
Well, we'll see.
With the Bucks for 170 a game on the Celtics.
I mean, that's the goal. I think you have to be at least a little confident, even with how it's, and the other thing, it's just been a mess. Like outside of just who is the coach, the process to get here has been such a mess. And now you're down even more time when you already acquired Dame, like 2-3 weeks before training camp. They were already on a tight, congested schedule. And I think that's been some of the bumps in the road with Dame and Giannis and their chemistry and everything, which was always two guys who are that ball dominant playing together. I mean, it's going to be an adjustment for all and everyone else on the team, but those are the two that are really important. But also, like, when you check ball in a playoff series, are there 2 players on any team in the East who are better than either one of those guys? Like, I think you could probably make the case the Bucks will have the best 2 players in any series, or at least it's a combo. And I think that is a very strong position. I think if they balance the roster, and that's the other thing about the roster, they built it for Drew, and you can see that. They got all offensive role players because that was their issue in the playoffs. They couldn't score enough in the half court. Then you flip the point guards, and it's like, okay, we have all offense now. We don't need as much. Like, we got Damian, Giannis, and Chris. That's going to cover almost everything. So they just need to balance the roster, get a little more depth in there, I think. But I still feel relatively good about their chances in any series. It's the Bucks' way that nothing will be easy. They didn't lead after 48 minutes in any series when they won the championship, despite sweeping the Heat, which almost is impossible. But I like their chances still, and I don't think it'll be I don't think that there's any team I think is clearly better than them, even if Boston is awesome. I have my questions about them in the playoffs still.
Kristaps starting to.
What was that stat you just said? They didn't lead what?
Show.
They didn't lead a series after 48 minutes. They went to overtime in game 1 of the Heat and then swept them. And then they lost game 1 in every other series that year.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's the other thing. They also never went 3-1 in that series. So they can do it without Doc's weakness. That's my reason for optimism. They won a title without ever having a 3-1 lead, so they're indestructible. They know the code.
Jesus, bro.
What a
this
world,
is your head
bro.
coach. This is you getting Congrats
40
to that,
million.
man. Whether y'all win or lose, bro, he needs to write a book, a self-help book, and I'll definitely read that motherfucker for sure. Sheesh.
40 million to have everyone making the joke you just made is fucking nuts to me. My last question is, you say you're your late 20s. You've picked a great time historically to be a Bucks fan.
Yeah.
Than a member of the media, right? Can you just sum up, like, we make the jokes about Thanasis or whatever, but obviously if you're a fan of like 25 teams in the NBA, you'd cut your pinky off to get Giannis. So having a fun-loving brother on the team is like, the easiest price to pay. Can you just put into words what Giannis's impact in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, to everyone has been? Because obviously he's elevated the Bucks to one of the teams that everyone's talking about that truly matters. Realistically, it just obviously was not who they were as a franchise for most of their history.
Yeah, I've got a couple of quick things I feel like answer that with. I mean, one, game 6 when they won the finals, the Deer District, I think they had like how many thousand people there? I mean, like a ridiculous amount of people outdoors to watch the game. And I asked an old beat writer of the Bucks, Matt Velasquez, do you think there were more Bucks fans in that place watching that game, or like total Bucks fans in the state in like 10 years before that, or 5 years? And he had to actually think like it's probably pretty close. Like they were a dying fan base. Wisconsin, of course, the Packers. Everyone who knows about Wisconsin knows about the Packers. The only reason anyone knows about Green Bay anywhere. And then even though they haven't won anything in forever, like the Brewers, people liked more generally. The Bucks had been so obscure, which is sad because they had a great history. I mean, everyone loves Marcus Johnson now. And those 80s Bucks teams are really forgotten about. They just couldn't get over the hump because it was Dr. J and Larry Bird. But there were great teams in the 80s, and of course Kareem in the 70s. But they had been bad for so long.
Ray Allen Bucks had one. The Michael Red Bucks, I don't know. You know what I mean?
We love him. Yeah. We love him forever. He puts out LinkedIn statements on the team now, which is great.
I respect Michael Red. I love him as a player too. But as the number one guy on your team,
not good.
It can get kind of rough. You know what I mean?
I hope Michael Red doesn't listen. I really want him on my podcast. Don't listen to this. But they probably would have moved. I mean, I think it was pretty close that they would have, when the new owners bought the team, when Giannis was still there. There's a chance that the old owner, Herb Cole, really, really wanted to keep them, and that was contingent in the deal. But like the valuation of the franchise and everything was way different because of Giannis, so there's a factor there. And of course, their position in the NBA now and within Wisconsin sports is just vastly different. And I think there are probably few other players who would have stuck around this long. I think Wisconsin knows how lucky they are, and I think he feels that. I really do. I mean, there's a lot of people in the state, especially in Milwaukee. Almost everyone, I would say, who's like out and about, has a story of seeing Giannis, and every time they're like, I like half waved at him when he walked past, but didn't want to bother him. And it's like the kind of uniquely thing with a market like Milwaukee where I think he really appreciates that he can live his life here. I mean, obviously he's popular, but like I know someone who like their kid was in swim school with Giannis's kid. And Giannis would like show up and wait to pick up the kid and this kind of stuff. Like he can live a more normal life. I think that he really appreciates in return. But yeah, I think the Bucks, he brought them to places they hadn't been in literally 50 years and they could have never been again. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, getting two of the best whatever players in NBA history is just beyond unlikely given the way we all know the NBA works. The fact that he's played more than a decade here, it looks like he may play out his career. Like you read the quote, Tyler, he needs to be on a contender. I think that's fair. I think that's the NBA economy. They may lose him eventually, but what he's already done and what he's rebuilt the city as, the new arena, the Deer District, everything with it. He's a part owner of the Brewers. They give away a Giannis jersey every year too. It's really like you can't calculate it. And that's why I never get too low on Giannis, too upset when he's taking threes or any of this stuff or these news reports come out, because he's already done so much more than I think almost any NBA star has done for any other city individually. And I hope people remember that in Milwaukee and just don't take that for granted. I'm not trying to start a competition here with other guys, but I think it's up there already.
I don't even know who else you'd put in the same like category as him. It's like you said, you read his biography, you read the profiles of him. It's like you said, like everyone's got a story, like a personal story, and he literally kept the franchise there, like,
and made them a thing. Like they were a joke for most of all of our NBA real watching existences. So.
Like I remember that one clip that someone in Milwaukee posted when they caught Giannis coming out of workout. Had a nice little interaction with him, and someone zoomed in on his water bottle, and he had written on a Sharpie on it, "Win MVP, win a championship." Like, just a different dude, man.
I never thought of the benefit of being able to be a human because Giannis in LA is not a human. Giannis in New York, maybe, but probably not. You know what I mean? There's very few cities where a Giannis can pick his kid up from swim practice, you know what I mean?
That's
a huge benefit for somebody like him who doesn't seem like he wants to be a LeBron as far as like, stardom and all that. You feel me?
He's got like a production company now. He's done like some of his own biographies and like his brothers and him do business. But like there was a very famous
that's
clip.
Solid, you know what I mean?
And he likes to work with his family. He all wants it to be all involved like that. There was a clip, a TMZ was interviewing him and I think his now wife in LA like before the last contract. Mm-hmm. And you could tell he was so bothered by it. And I think a lot of us here were like, yeah, we have a pretty good shot, I think, if we remain good, just because like doesn't happen here. Like it's not that level of, and Giannis really did not like that. I think, he's famous. He enjoys being famous. He does his brand deals. He goes to Greece, all this stuff. But he also wants to be low key and just like be at home with his family. And I think Wisconsin, that's a good, people have laughed before, but it's like, it's a good advertisement for Wisconsin. If you're not looking to do everything in the world, but just eat some good food, drink some good beers, go home to your family, it's a good place to live. And I think Giannis realized, I don't know if he drinks beer, but otherwise I think Giannis realizes that stuff.
As a wife guy, you know what I mean? And he's like a wife guy, I think that's a hell of a sales pitch. You know what I'm saying?
Is Wisconsin the official state of the wife guy? That's like a conversation for another pod.
Hey, Jenkins and Jonez might need to pull up. You feel me? Relocate.
Chill out. I tried to pull up and it blizzarded us out. All right, Ty, thank you so much for hopping on. Like I said, you can catch Ty's Bucks coverage on the Gyro Step Podcast. Follow him on Twitter as well. But thank you so much for making the time and hopping on. And we wish you some sanity over the next couple of weeks, brother.
I'm going to be watching the first Doc game like a hawk. Thank you guys for having me. I hope some sanity is coming soon.
Yes, sir.
Our thanks to Ti Windisch for hopping on. Great getting a Bucks fans perspective. We will be back on Saturday with our NFC and AFC championship preview, as well as an interview with Tashawn Reed to talk about all of the big Raiders news. We'll see y'all then. Bye.
Bye.